सलाम नमस्ते एंड वेलकम बैक टू टेक चाय। मैं हूं आपके साथ आपकी इश्क की मिश्क की होस्ट आरजे रोश एंड हर ट्यूसडे की तरह हम फिर से आ गए हैं एट 3:30 PM लाइव फॉर यू फ्रॉम द रेडियो जिंदगी स्टूडियो विद द वन एंड ओनली डॉक्टर सैम एंड द शो टेक चाय। अगर डॉक्टर सैम के बारे में आपको नहीं पता है तो मैं आपको फिर से याद दिला दूं दैट ही इज द फाउंडर एंड द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ strategism.inc and strategism.inc is a very khas organization because it is actually the need of the hour, the need of the day, because it is a training and consultation and placement organization which actually helps you get your feet back in the industry if you've taken a hiatus for some time or if you've been affected by the workforce reduction and are looking to get your feet back in there. The contact details are 408-372-7275 if you want to send them an email for any queries. That is training@strategisminc.com, and of course the website is www.strategisminc.com. मैं आपको याद दिला दूं that apart from being able to hear us on the radio, you can actually watch us live on Facebook through the Radio Zindagi page. So all you have to do is go to Facebook, type Radio Zindagi, and you can see the magnificent Dr. Sam in my favorite color, red, shining like ever. And of course, we have a very, very special guest today, which is none other than Mr. Ajay Jain Bhutoria. Hey. How are you doing, sir, today?
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting to be back to Radio Zindagi, and thank you, Sam, and thank you, Roshni, for having me, and thank you, Radio Zindagi.
Absolutely, welcome. You're of course a techie turned social activist, which makes you extra special because Dr. Sam, of course, is a multifaceted person himself, and I think he has friends and mentors and mentees in similar circles which kind of are at the cusp of art and tech and public service, and that is why I think you are a very, very special guest. But I will put the spotlight back on Dr. Sam to hear from the horse's mouth. Dr. Sam, why did you choose Ajay ji to be the distinguished guest of today?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me, Roshni, on the show, and welcome listeners. It's a beautiful and fantastic day. Not too much sun out there, but it is still exciting, right? जब बादल होते हैं तो ऐसा एहसास होता है कि सूरज की आवश्यकता है।
हाँ, और बादल होते तो फोटोज अच्छे आते हैं ज़्यादा।
तो अगर इमिग्रेशन के बादल छाए हुए हैं तो हमारे पास अजय जैन भटूरिया जी हैं आपको बताने के लिए कि कैसे इन बादलों से निकलें और सूर्य की रोशनी से अपने आप को जो है लाभान्वित करें. So but the great honor and privilege to have Mr. Bhutoria, and I'm so excited, and he has been my mentor personally, and he's helped me a lot, and I'm really very, very happy and excited to have him on the show. And the reason I chose him to be the techie come a social activist of the week, because he started his career in technology, and he'll talk more, and Rosh will have more questions around it. But the excitement is that he moved on and kind of pivoted and catapulted to being a social activist and looking at the social problems, and also engaging with Washington and White House at the top level. So I have never seen that kind of talent, in front of my eyes, which can really blend these two. And that is why I think that he's the techie social activist of the week.
Thank you.
तो हम अपने स्टाइल में थोड़ा
Techie of the week. Spotlight.
Spotlight is on Mr. Ajay Jain Bhutoria. अच्छा अजय जी, पहले तो ये बताइए आप हमारे listeners को कि Dr. Sam has of course introduced you. I don't think there is anything better that I can do to present you to our listeners. And of course you are very well known in the Bay Area. But where did your journey kind of start? Like where in, if you could go take us back to the time when you were little, and what fascinated you towards the world of tech, and also later in your life towards the world of public service and all of that. If you can just paint a picture for us there.
Thank you again. And I'm glad you asked. I was born in Rajasthan, Jain Marwadi, and but early age, when I was very young, we moved to Assam, Guwahati. Assam, Guwahati is a small town surrounded with mountains, and people are laid back and pretty nice life, and the whole Seven Sisters are very beautiful. Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Meghalaya. So that's where I grew up, did my schooling and college, and did my engineering at NIT Trichy, which was Tamil Nadu, another part of the country, and learned Tamil, Kunjam Tamil Terima.
Oh, wow.
So, and then came to US to do my MBA, and as part of that journey, coming to US to do my MBA with dreams of learning something, doing something, and as doing through that process, while I was working with Pricewaterhouse and IBM, at some point I met President Obama when he was running for the first term of his election, and we happened to meet, and during our first meeting itself, a bond formed between us, and he said, "Get involved," and his words were like magic, and I got involved working with him. When he won, I was working with him, and then Vice President Biden on the Free Community College initiative, which was that if you first 2 years of community college is free, and if you do well, you get the next 2 free. So then got involved in his healthcare initiative and so on. Then it became a journey.
Wow. And for the benefit of those who have not heard about him, I'm sure everybody has, but in case if somebody hasn't, so he's the person who was appointed to the White House in the federal advisory role and served as the President's Advisory Commission, on certain Asian Americans. He was the co-chair of the committee for immigration, and he got the H-1B stamping done from U.S., a major landmark achievement. He's a major democratic donor as well as a person of, tremendous impact on the social activities. He's a fundraiser, he's an advisor to many, and he is a very high profile Indian American who has access to the White House and the Washington.
Not to this White House.
Amazing, but that is an amazing story that right from the man himself, from Obama, you drew inspiration.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
this was what, 2008, something
yeah,
like that?
2012, and then 8 and
Okay.
12, and then President Obama, he was like, when I met him for the first time, like, you are a fan of the person, right? And you see, but when I met him, he made him make me feel so like I'm meeting a close friend, and that's how charming he was. And then when we hosted President Clinton at our house in Fremont, he was another charmer, and he was another great leader. And somehow during that process with President Obama, and then I led the campaign for Hillary Clinton for the South Asians and Asians, and that was another big fight we fought. And then we continued to working with President Biden. I mean, when Biden was not running, I said, "You need to run," and he said, "When I'm ready to run, I will call you." And one day he calls me that I'm running for the president. I said, Mr. President, I'm day one supporter. And nobody believed in Biden then. There were 13 candidates, from Tulsi to Eric Swalwell to so many other candidates, Pete Buttigieg and so many. I believe this guy is our next president. We knocked doors in Iowa in minus 20 degrees centigrade. Can you believe going from California and knocking doors in 20 where we are not used to this kind of weather?
So this is door-to-door canvassing.
This
You
was
had to
door-to-door
do-
canvas for the primary
Okay.
in Iowa, in Wisconsin, in all the battleground states.
So you travel all over the country
Wow.
to.
All over the country, I mean.
Wow.
And that opened up my eyes that we are living in a bubble in San Francisco.
absolutely.
We are living
California is a bubble.
where people have easy access to technology, easy access to jobs, easy access to wealth, and not every part of the country is the same, I mean. And that I learned a lot when I was traveling around the country to the campaigns.
Wow, that's amazing. That's fantastic.
That's amazing. So, Mr. Bhutoria, can you tell us a little bit about your leading role in getting the bill vetoed, SB 509 by the governor, and also your work on SB 403?
Yeah, so what happened is that time and again there are certain bills which comes up which creates division within the community, which tries to divide the community on base. SB 403 was directly attacking our community based on certain things which do not exist in US, something which we have left in India, which is, we may not agree with those things, but that has been somehow, and things are changing. But I've been in HR, human resources for last 18 years, 20 years, and when you go to hire a person, you can collect his data around his race, gender, his of course marital status, and then whether he's a veteran or not veteran. But you never collect data around his caste. I mean,
No,
it's not federally not allowed and prohibited. So then, how can there be a caste discrimination? So this bill was put by Senator Wahab from our district, and our community fought against it. Assembly and Senate, they lost it, and then same thing happened to this divisive bill of SB 549, which is transnational reparation. Now, I know a lot of people are listening, and some of them may be supporting, transnational reparation. To me, I want to say to them, I'm in support of anything which protects our community, whether it's Hindu, Sikh, or any community which protects our community, Indian American community, and there are rules within the law which protects our community. So I felt that both these bills were redundant, both these bills were divisive. So I reached out to the governor on personal note and I explained it to him that why these are redundant, why the existing laws cover, and why he should veto. And I'm happy and I'm glad, I'm honored that he listened to me, and both the times he vetoed. A lot of lawmakers came and say, hey, what did you do to convince the governor? We tried to get our bills passed and he doesn't listen to us. Tell us, not once but twice you were able to get the veto.
Yeah.
I think there's been a big celebration within our community. I also know there's a certain element from a certain part of our Sikh community group, they did not like it. To them, I want to tell again that I stand. There was an issue with the Sikh drivers, which was raised around the country, that because few Sikh drivers which were illegal or legal, they had an accident, the whole 250,000 or more Sikh drivers were being punished. I had raised my voice, I've written articles, and I'm fighting for it, and I'm in support of our Sikh community.
That's fantastic, being a civil kind of person who's taking up the issues right from the grassroots level and raising them to the governor and to the president level. So that is a really fantastic job that you have done, and we really
I
appreciate
would
that.
say our various organization and our community has also done a fantastic job in getting involved and getting more in the process, but there's a lot more needs to be done, and I would urge the listeners to get more involved. Run for city council, run for office, run for school boards, and there's a lot more you can bring policy changes. I mean, Indian American has been very successful doctors, entrepreneurs, hoteliers, and everything they have done, and they are also rising in the political process, but there are a lot more opportunities there.
I think it's one thing to also tell people to run and follow these things, but also it's another thing to inspire, and I think people like you definitely inspire,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
शुरुआत कहीं और से हुई, but they still found their calling, and they like he keeps saying that it's important that जब भी कोई divisive law या bill pass हो तो आवाज उठाना
Yeah, exactly.
जरूरी है. So that I think is very important. So Mr. Bhutoria, can you share with us a little bit about your contribution in the Biden administration and shaping the immigration policy and green cards, H-1B policy, etc.?
Well, let me tell you, I love President Biden, and millions of people still love him a lot. He did a great job for the country, whether lot agree or not. He celebrated the largest Diwali party, and there was pani puri, there was
Pani Puri.
singing of Janagana Mana, Vande, and a lot of Bollywood songs performed by the Air Force and Navy, what do you call those, musicians in the White House. And that's one of my favorite memory. But talking about the serious note, I have come on H-1B, and I went through the struggle of getting green card, and I understand the pain that way. If you get terminated, you only have 60 days to find a job in this market is so tough, or you leave the country, or even the green card backlog, or H-1 renewal. I met people who would say that we don't want to go to our country because even the father is in ICU, because if I don't get a stamping, I cannot come back. So in that process, I said, I'm in a position right now, what can I do? So I put on myself on that committee, and then I wrote around 30 policy recommendations, and President was the committee was kind enough to approve it, the President was kind enough, and we were able to implement it very fast. So we got H-1B visa renewal stamping in US. Prime Minister Modi ji announced it. I met Modi ji at a state dinner and said, Modi ji, I've got it done. Well, I'm very proud of you. And he announced that, and that was a big hit. And then I got a EAD with 5 extension, automatic extension for 540 days.
Yeah.
This guy, Trump administration has talked about rescinding it or cancelling it, and there's a lawsuits which are coming up, and so we hope. So there were a lot of things which we got around H-1B and immigration, which has benefited to our community.
Amazing. We as consumers of these policies, we often, we of course complain when it comes to us, when we are the receiving end, but people who are actually on the battleground, for lack of a better word, fighting for us, I think this is great that we are getting to hear from them that what it takes, like documents and meetings. And
it takes a lot. I mean, I want to add one more. The most important thing was the feedback from the community was that when you filed I-140 on the green card stage, and you're waiting typically you get your employment authorization card when you have gotten to the 485 stage, which may take 10 to 15 years. And that is where I said, when you file I-140 and you have almost 5 years in the country, you should issue EAD. That's
Correct.
no brainer.
Yeah.
Why do you have to hold EAD till 15 years?
Yeah.
Because in 15 years, if you give EAD, they can transfer jobs.
Correct.
They can, even if they get laid off, they don't have to leave the country. They can. It's almost like having a green card security, and you can have travel documents. You can. So, I communicated personally 3 times to the president, and why? Because a lot of listeners who are listening, they would, and thousands of people around the country, they would message me on Twitter every day. Have you gotten this done for us? Have you gotten this done for us? So that kept me driving and pushing, and finally the USCIS director said, I can do it. There's not holding. There's a process of rule making which we have to follow, and that's where we were going through. We were pretty sure that if we have come back in the administration, we would have gotten this done. But I don't want to give up hope. In 2028, when we get back into the White House, we'll get it done.
Yay.
Awesome. And think about it, people have been living here for 10, 15, 20 years and they don't have a green card, and they
Plus
are on
EAD.
Yeah.
And then all the illegals which come or who come, they get the EAD in 90 days.
90 days,
Right.
and
Right,
they get
that's not fair.
citizenship, and these people are legal, paying
Yeah,
taxes,
exactly.
working, for Fortune 500 companies, and they're doctors and engineers.
Yeah, it's
and
not
they
fair, I
don't-
mean.
It's not fair, right? So hats off to you for taking this to the top level and then getting it executed. So it is really commendable job, and
Yeah.
congratulations for
No,
that.
thank you.
Dr. Sam, Mr. Bhutoria has received the highest Jainism award. So would you want to tell our listeners a little bit about that and what he did to,
Yeah,
gain that?
I would let Ajay talk about it, because I think because he comes from the Jain community in Rajasthan where he was born, and then he traveled to Assam and Trichy where he did his engineering. He has been on the forefront, and he's been the pillar and the centerpiece of this Jain movement, and that's why the Jain community, and they gave him this highest award. And can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I belong to Jainism, and one of the principles of Jainism is live and let others live peacefully.
That's actually my WhatsApp profile status. Live and let
Live and let
Yeah.
live. And so our Jainism, they select out of 5 million Jains 1 person every year, and I was honored to be selected by Acharya Mahashramanji, who is like Dalai Lama of Jainism, and the highest guru. And the Jain monks, they travel barefoot throughout the country. They eat by taking food by reaching out to
Begging,
households,
yeah.
begging. I don't want to use the word begging, but then they sleep on the floor. They have nothing. But the whole purpose is that to reach nirvana, to reach enlightenment, and purify our soul to a certain extent that we don't have to take birth and rebirth. So driven by those principles, where the whole idea is to compassion and to be able to help others and things, it's spreading those values, and I think they saw whatever I did. One of the things I did was that I had President Biden and Vice President and many others tweet about the Jainism days. One of the important days, Jainism has Forgiveness Day. We call it Michami Dukkadam, where you meet once a year with everybody you know and say, I seek forgiveness for if I have made any mistake, and I hope you will also forgive me, and I forgive you, and we start fresh again. I said we can do Michami Dukkadam every day, but okay.
Yeah.
So we introduced that Forgiveness Day in the White House, and we had an event. We talked about it, and we were bringing Jainism events and things. So to highlight, spotlight that what a beautiful, religion is, and what are the values, something which aligns with everybody. Mahatma Gandhi took inspiration from Jainism, and then Nelson Mandela took inspiration. So yeah, we can do more.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think right now the current Modi administration also has a lot of values which is around Jainism, and his background from Gujarat.
Yep.
And the current administration seems to have a lot in common there. And what I love about it is the food that you eat, if it is good,
Yep.
and it is simple, then simple living, high thinking,
Absolutely.
that's the philosophy of Jainism, and that really is what we need today in America, where you have 70% obesity and you have such a high crime rate and unsafe places.
Yeah, beyond Jainism, I think all religions, they want to bring peace in the world, and I think we need a little bit more peace at this time.
Absolutely. I think we are gearing towards the last segment of our show. So thank you so much, Mr. Bhutoria, for all your work, and especially, for helping expedite visas and giving the highest ever, like 1 million visas or something in 2024.
Yes,
So
it
that's
was, yes.
tremendous. But what do you think about, and you kind of made a reference to 2028, but what do you think about the 2028 presidential candidate? Do you think that it'll be somebody from California? Who all are there? What are your thoughts, and who will win the race? And all
Democrat or Republican?
आप बोलिए Dr. Sam.
I think it should be a compromise, because we were having a discussion just before the show that we should not have an extreme rightist person or extreme leftist, because we should meet somewhere in middle. And in the way beautifully he defined that, how President Obama was a person who could kind of create bipartisanship and create success, win-win on both the sides. That's what we need, I think, and we want intelligent societies, right? We call America as the number one country in the world, so we need to have intellectual discussions and intelligent people who are able to look at both sides of the argument. And we cannot deny the fact that America is a capitalistic country, and the success is innovation. So Wright brothers created that with planes, and then Henry Ford with cars, and AI now. So we are on that note. What are your thoughts?
So going back to your question, I mean, to adding to that, I think there are a lot of Democrat candidates from California who's going to come up. If I were to name them, Gavin Newsom is already started kind of his campaign, he said. I know Congressman Ro Khanna could be running. Kamala Harris could be running again, and then there would be so many other people who could be running, from Pete Buttigieg, from Andy Beshear from Ohio, from Shapiro from Pennsylvania, from Gretchen Pritzker from Governor of Illinois, or there's so many candidates who could be running. AOC from New York, and so that would be interesting to see AOC on the very right left, what you said, and Newsom and others on the middle ground, and then some candidates who are, so that would be an interesting election. But besides the list of the candidates, I think the country is fighting that the economic prices are rising up. I think all the listeners will agree that when you go to an Indian grocery store, your grocery prices have gone up at least by 30 to 45% because of the tariffs, and same thing happens with generally everybody. The affordability is less, and so these are one of the important issue right now, the economic and the affordability and the jobs that we'll be talking about in 2026 midterm and then 2028.
Awesome. And then what would be your parting message for our listeners, Mr. Bhutoria, about how to handle visas, job losses, and especially for families stuck in the green card backlog?
I would quickly say that there's everyday news cycle creating that when the H-1B visa 100,000 per visa per transfer, that was how they announced it. And then Howard Lutnick quickly turned back. So no, it is for H-1B visa transfer only, but not only for new visa from 2026 or something. And then they made a U-turn again. Oh no, anybody who's on F1 visa and who transfers and get an H1, 100,000 doesn't apply. But what it did, it created a huge panic. People who just arrived on that day on September 19th in Delhi, they said, I have to rush back, and they took a flight back. So there was panic all over the country. Microsoft, Google, everybody sending that to their employees email that please transfer back and come back. So this administration is only about creating panic, but no concrete result. Now their policy on H1 visa, everybody who come here on F1, most of people come on F1 and get an H1, there's no 100,000. Only if you're in India, you apply a new, which is very small percentage. So no changes happen. Same thing on EAD, cancelling that no automatic extension. Yeah, if it gets implemented, then you may lose, time and your job if it doesn't get your process in time. But we are very positive, like birthright citizenship. They said, you will lose your birthright citizenship. Roshni, actually a person called me, said my baby is due in November, but should I give the baby birth in August so that she becomes a citizen? This was such a painful to listen to. What advice would I give? I mean, right? But that bill was challenged. It's in court of law and it's not being implemented. So I would quickly say to the listeners, don't panic with these headlines. Continue doing what you do, and these headlines will be fought battle in the court, and this will not be implemented. tough times never last, but tough
The
people
people
do.
do,
Be tough person, and
Hey.
things will find a way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhutoria, and
Yeah.
we are so delighted to have you on the show, and we look forward to your fight and trying to put up for the community and taking the community to the next level in years to come.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I
much for
really
being
enjoyed
here.
it.
I love the note of toughness that we ended on. See you once again, dear listeners, on Tech Chai, 3:30 p.m. next Tuesday. Till then, सुनते रहिए रेडियो जिंदगी 1550 AM. जी जा.